resolution.
Resolution number 17-2013, a resolution to establish fees and rates for Cecil County Solid Waste Management System, including the Cecil County Central Landfill and the Cecil County Sanitary District on or after the effective date of this resolution. Introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced in order posted on March 5th, 2013, public hearing scheduled on May 7th, 2013 at 7 p.m.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve resolution 17-2013 with amendments?
I move to pass resolution 17-2013 with amendments.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve resolution 17-2013 with amendments. All right, you have in front of you 5 different amendments. May I have a motion to approve either one or all of these amendments? You don't want to do them individually?
Let's do them individually.
Okay, would somebody make a motion to approve amendment number 1? Okay, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 1, that increase, or no, it reduces the increase in recycling fees from $2 to $1, which is the current rate. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Massey, would you read amendment number 1 into the record?
Amendment number 1 to resolution 17-2013. In the attached solid waste management division fee schedule, scales and service, item number 5, single stream recyclables under 200 pounds. Delete $2 per vehicle and insert $1 per vehicle. In the attached solid waste management division fee schedule, scales not in service, item 11, single stream recyclables under 200 pounds. Delete $2 per vehicle and insert $1 per vehicle.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to amend resolution number 17-2013, disposal fees at the central landfill, and maintain the recycling fees at $1 per vehicle. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Flanagan a question, please.
Go ahead.
Under this proposed schedule, Mr. Flanagan, will this cover the expenses of the landfill? In your opinion?
No. The plan that was submitted to the council was a series of was fee schedules for 3 fiscal years. Fiscal years 14, 15, and 16. And the intent is that over the course of those 3 years to close the operating deficit. The council, to my knowledge, has never talked about, fiscal years 15 and 16, what's proposed out there. All the focus has been on the fiscal year 14 fee schedule, which is the one that would go into effect on July 1st. Those proposed increases will narrow the gap, but will not close them completely. The intent is to completely close that gap over a course of 3 years.
Thank you very much. It is my intention that we should close these operating deficits. I will not vote for this amendment.
I propose this amendment because I believe that recycling material is a commodity that I hope has greater and better value, that the county will be able to sell and return revenues to the county enterprise fund. And I'm banking on the fact that I want this to be an incentive for people to recycle. I do not want to disincentivize the recycling efforts that we've generated so far. So I'm hoping that if we can incentivize more and more people to recycle and source that recycling material out at a return to the fund, that it will actually help our efforts to fund the landfill. If in the event that recycling, single stream recycling, goes down in value, I'll be happy to revisit this fee. Is there any other discussion on this motion to amend? Okay, hearing none, Mr. Massey, would you call the roll call vote, please?
Dr. McCarthy,
Nay.
Ms. Bowlesby,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn. Aye. Ms. Brumell, President Hodge.
Aye. Amendment number 1 passes 4-1. Would Ms. Brumell, would you offer a motion to approve amendment number 2?
I make a motion that we approve amendment number 2. Motion to approve, the tipping fee for household refuse under 200 pounds from $12 per vehicle to $11 per vehicle.
Mr. Massey, would you read this motion or the amendment into the record?
Amendment number 2 to Resolution 17-2013. In the attached Solid Waste Management Division fee schedule, scales and service, item number 3, household refuge under 200 pounds, delete $12 per vehicle and insert $11 per vehicle. In the attached Solid Waste Management Division fee schedule, scales not in service, item 10, household refuge under 200 pounds, delete $12 per vehicle and insert $11 per vehicle.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second and an introduction of the amendment number 2 to the disposal fees at the central landfill. Is there any further discussion?
I, again, cannot vote for this. Once again, we've looked at the fee schedules. I mean, basically, out of 24 jurisdictions, we are just about the cheapest one going. We've not raised these rates in years, and we're falling behind with every subsequent year. I think that we need to put these where we can close the deficit and basically make this fund site pay for itself.
Okay, I looked at this as an increase. It is an increase of $1 per vehicle, which equates into a minimum of $10 per ton.
Why does it say reduces tipping fee?
It was proposed to be $13, right? No, 12. It was proposed at 12. It's reduced to 11, which is still $1 more than previous.
Than previous what?
Today.
The current tipping fee is $10.
I understand that, but they're asking for 12, we reduce it to 11.
That's right.
So it's a reduction of $1 from what they think is necessary to reduce
Correct.
the deficit.
Right.
I understand when you add money that it's in an increase, but what I'm saying is that I think it should be at $12 so we can reduce this deficit. If we do not do these things now, when do you intend to do them?
When we reconsider.
Then we will have to reconsider spending a whole lot more money. We are precisely in the problem we are in now because people have said, we'll do it later, we'll do it later, we'll do it later.
Okay. All right. Is there any discussion on the matter?
Yeah, I agree with that one on the tipping fees. We sat here for years and heard how the landfill smelled badly and we had to do things to improve it. We've gone down there, we have that, the landfill is pristine and it's in good shape, but that costs money. And if you want a clean, well-run landfill, you're gonna have to pay for it. That's what enterprise fund means. And so I'm really not for reducing the tipping fee. I'll go with the single stream recycling, but not the tipping fee.
Okay. This is tipping fee for under 200 pounds.
Yep.
It's not the tipping fee for commercial haulers.
No, I'll be paying that anyway.
All right. Is there any other discussion on the motion to approve amendment number 2? Hearing none, Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call vote?
Dr. McCarthy,
Nay.
Ms. Bowlesby,
No.
Mr. Dunn,
Aye.
Ms. Brunel,
Aye.
President Hodge.
Aye. The motion passes 3-2. Amendment number 2 is approved. Okay. Amendment number 3 has been replaced by amendment number 5, so we're not going to consider amendment 3 at this time unless someone else opposes it. Amendment number 4 is previously amended, is the motion to finance the major facility fees. Would someone please make, well, Mr. Massey, would you read it into the record?
Amendment number 4 as amended to Resolution 17-2013. On page 1, line 23, insert the following. Number 4, major facility fees, connection fees, shall be due when billed. An unpaid connection fee shall be a lien upon the property upon property served until paid in full. Upon application to and approval by the Department of Finance, connection fees may be paid in installments as follows. 1/3 of the total connection fee to be paid when initially billed, and 1/10 of the balance due and owing to be paid annually with the property taxes assessed against the property, together with interest at the prime rate plus 2%, adjusted on an annual basis on the unpaid connection fee balance. In all instances, any unpaid connection fees and interest thereon will be payable in full on sale or transfer of the property, with the exception of the sale or transfer of the property to a spouse, son, or daughter.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve amendment number 4?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Been a motion and a second to approve amendment number 4 regarding the financing of major facility fees. Is there any discussion? Just for the record, this allows the county to finance major facility fees regardless of their current rate, whether it's approved, a new approved rate or today's rate. Now, is there any further discussion on the amendment number 4?
I'll go ahead and vote for this, but I still, it provides another option for financing, way too high, hookup fee. But it does provide an option for financing, so. And I heard from Dan Whitehurst this evening that it was an option he was supporting as well.
Okay, Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call vote, please?
Dr. McCarthy,
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby,
Aye.
Mr. Dunn,
No.
Ms. Brunel,
Aye.
President Hodge.
Aye. Motion passes 4-1. Amendment number 4 is now adopted. Amendment number 5 is a motion to reduce the major facility fee from $16,100 to $12,000. Mr. McCarthy, excuse me, Mr. Massey, would you please read amendment number 5 into the record?
Amendment number 5 to Resolution 17-2013. In the attached wastewater division fee schedule, wastewater major facilities fee, MFF, delete $16,100 per ELU and insert $12,000 per ELU.
Is there a motion to approve amendment number 5?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it for discussion. In the absence of, okay, there's been a motion and a second, ask for discussion. Is there any discussion on this amendment?
While that looks more enticing than $16,100 12,000 still is too high for, our hookup fee. We're supposed to be attracting growth, and we adopted that, capital project. If we don't fund it with this, it's no doubt gonna be funded by the, taxpayers.
I would like to just, you have to stop and think about the fact that if in fact you were putting in a well with the new nitrogen requirements, that would run anywhere between, I think, $12,000 and $15,000. So the hookup fee doesn't seem nearly as unreasonable. I think that $12,000 is a lot of money. I have a lot of heartburn about it, but I think that it's the right thing to do.
Okay, I personally have serious heartburn over this particular item. It's scary to me because it is a significant increase over current levels. It bothers me a lot. There's a potential for us to be non-competitive. I'm hoping to work with the county executive to come up with some other alternatives and to try to make this more palatable. I hope that the county executive and the council will continue to monitor this and see if it causes damage to our economic development efforts and revisit this if we need to. And I hope that we can also find other ways in addition to funding it or financing it, because I really have a real serious concern, but I have to tell you that $16,100 per ELU is a lot worse than 12. And in the absence of 12, we're going to have a default position of 16.1. So if any of those that vote against this are, I guess, okay with the 16.1. So I'm not happy about the 12, but it's a hell of a lot better than 16.1.
Just to clarify, I am no in support of the 16.1. And, just want to point out once again, there was no cost analysis done, there was no testing or, other, processes, that were presented to us to compare. The letter from MDE said denitrification was fine. It was 10.9, it might have been 3 million more. In addition, for the headworks upgrades, we were good up until 5 MGD or 7 MGD. There is no reason to be spending $30 million when we can, have it funded for 3. And it ties our hands, and it was done in a manner that, it's shocking to me.
Okay, is there any other further discussion on amendment number 5?
Yes, the gentleman who was with Clark Turner Enterprises seemed to think that this would be crippling to their construction business. I have a feeling it would be too. I think that we should try to have these fees be as such that people are willing to build. And I think we should investigate every possibility that we can make these fees, these hookup fees or capital expenses, basically be shed amongst the entire population because they all benefit from these fees.
They're being punished for a decision that was improperly done.
Which,
We're allowing it to happen.
which decision are you referring to?
The one to go to MDR.
Okay, there's
Mr. Bruton.
all right, we're going to discuss MBR when we get to the budget, or the capital budget. We're talking about the amendment currently. There's been a motion and a second to amend the capital improvement budget by amendment number 5. Mr. Massey, please call the roll call vote.
Dr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby?
Aye.
Mr. Dunn?
No.
Ms. Brunel?
No.
President Hodge?
Aye. Okay, is there any other amendments to be offered regarding the capital improvement budget?
This is disposal. That's already been approved.
For the Senate
Hold on, did I make a mistake?
Yeah. You already approved
It's
capital.
resolution 17, the disposal.
fees.
No, we didn't.
Yes,
The
you
capital improvement budget.
16, you did that.
Yes.
Yes.
You're on 17.
We're on 17, the disposal.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, I apologize, I'm sorry, it's been a long night, you're right, I'm sorry. We're amending the disposal fees and sanitary district fees. Resolution number 17-2013. So there's a motion on the table to pass an amended resolution. And we amended it with 4 amendments. Is there any additional amendments to the disposal fees for the central landfill and sanitary district? Okay. Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call vote for resolution number 17-2013?
Dr. McCarthy?
This is for all of the amendments?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Nay.
Ms. Bowlesby?
This isn't for all the amendments,
This
this
is
is for
for
the
the
resolution.
resolution as amended.
We approved the
Resolution with amendments.
With
We
amendment.
approved each
Right.
amendment individually. They
Right.
weren't passed.
All the amendments.
Now, I voted specifically against amendment number 1, amendment number 2.
Right, now, that's right. Now we are voting on the resolution with amendments.
All right. I'll vote aye.
Mr. Dunn? No. Ms. Brumell?
No.
President Hodge?
Aye. The motion the motion fails, 2-3. So, Mr. McCarthy, do you have a solution?
Yes, put the rates where they should be.
That's not gonna happen.
And once again, what's the end game here? I mean, if we continually reduce the revenues, how do you expect to pay the bills?
Mr. McCarthy, if we don't pass this with amendments, then the $16,100 major facility fee will go into play. Now, we've already heard from multiple, go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt, but the amendments were all approved, so it
That's what I
seemed,
said.
Yeah, but then we have to pass the ordinance with amendments. We did not pass the ordinance. We offered the ordinance with amendments. We started with the amendments, we
ordinance has
approved the
other fees in it,
amendments,
correct?
and then there's some confusion.
Didn't the
It
water
didn't
rate, wastewater
It
rates
did
go up?
pass, that's right. Now,
If they don't pass that, I think
the problem is
But I'm
that,
saying there's other ones
do you
that
want
they're trying to pass.
to allow the 16-1 to kick in?
I can't personally see a whole lot of difference between the 16-1 and the 12, if you want to know the truth.
Then I think you're wrong, and I think the problem is that commercial industrial users that use multiple ELUs rack up. Right.
What do we want? I mean, do we want more from subsidized housing here? I mean, what type of development do we want in this country, in this county?
We want commercial industrial development, it's gonna require more than 1 ELU.
And do you not think that they could not pay for these things?
No, I don't. I think they'll go to surrounding counties that have much lower ELU costs.
Why do we have higher ELU costs?
Because we haven't raised the rates in how long? But we just raised.
So how do we correct these
Because
issues?
other-
Fundamental issues
Mr.
need to be
Flanagan
corrected.
specifically said he had to raise the hookup fees. Part of it, most of it, was because of the Seneca Point project.
I think the reason we have higher fees is for multiple reasons, and we had this discussion this morning.
Yes, we did.
Number 1, other jurisdictions subsidize their connection fees.
So I'm saying to you, as I have said, let's investigate other ways that we can spread this expense over the entire population. Because everyone benefits from these improvements.
By default-
Everybody wants to save the Chesapeake Bay, but nobody wants to basically clean up the water that goes into it.
By default, when we do the 12,000, that will happen to some degree.
Yes, it will. We could accomplish the same thing if we made it $25 to some degree.
But I think that we all agree that the users should pay for more than their fair share.
Well, you basically just disregarded what your Department of Public Works chairman said when you reduced the tipping fees. How are we to
But,
pay
yes.
these bills and run a responsible, respectful business if we constantly do not increase what it costs to run it? That's my question. We've not raised rates in how long, Mr. Flanagan? 5 years?
No.
If you're referring to the wastewater major facilities
Tipping
fee
fees first, please.
for the landfill. Okay.
While he's looking that up, I guess my problem is that I do believe that we should be raising the fees, and I have supported raising the fees. The question is, do you wanna do it all in one big swoop?
We're not.
And yes, we are.
For 16,000?
That's all in one big swoop. We're going from 8,000 to 16,1. We're going from $4,500 to 16,1.
Well, Elkin right now is set at 15,000. Is
That's
that the
for
rate?
water and sewer.
Well, then I've told you many times we should put it all together. What you're gonna do.
We don't
is
have
not-
water, we don't provide water, we have no idea what the other people need to do, and in many cases, they don't even buy water, they can get well water. We have no control over the cost of water.
But that these people could basically go to Charlestown, could they not, and open up their facilities, or Northeast, or Perryville, or Elton?
No, because Charlestown and Northeast also use Cecil County sewer.
No, but I'm saying go to a town that has sewer in place already, which is cheaper.
They could, that's true, they could.
I mean, are we
They
trying
can
to
also
grow this
go,
county
they
or
can
not?
also go to Harper County, they can go to Newcastle.
But they've been doing it. They're gonna run out of space.
So we're just going to encourage them more by the significant rate increase.
Mr. Flanagan, your answer, please.
For landfill tipping fees, they've been changed 3 times in the last 28 years.
Is that too often, you think?
No, it's not often enough. They were unchanged from 1985 to 2001, a period of 16 years. Then in January of 2002, they were increased 197%, from $17.50 per ton to $52 per ton. And that remained in effect for 8 years, from 2002 to 2010. The last time that landfill tipping fee for refuse was changed was on August 1st of 2010, when it was increased 10% to its current $57.20. Just a factoid, if that rate, which was set in 2002, had increased at the rate of inflation, it would be $66.55 at the present time. So in other words, the county has not increased that tipping fee sufficiently to keep up with the rate of inflation.
I don't know that I need to say any more. Now, I do not like having to raise this rate to $16,000 per hookup. I prefer to have it below 5. But is there not a way that we can figure out how to do this without driving prospective clients or basically investors away from Cecil County?
Go, Dina.
That was a proposal. The financing arrangement was,
That's a big help. I can say.
to do that.
I mean, you know, we're looking at 3 or 4 counties, we're looking at towns and next door neighbor, which is Middletown or Newcastle. They are growing like weeds. We are at the same position we've been in 35 years.
That's because we're focusing our capital investment in non-priority funding areas and in treatment plants and doing projects we don't have to do. We should be investing in
Maybe
infrastructure
outhouses?
on the growth corridor.
Outhouses on the growth corridor, maybe?
Infrastructure on the growth
Well,
corridor.
is an outhouse is a
Water
growth
and
structure,
sewer
isn't it?
pipelines. Water and sewer.
Well, you just ran artesian right out of this county last year, did you not?
Mr.
Hold it.
Murphy.
We're talking about,
Okay, I will basically support this, for $12,000 fee. I still think that it's way too much, but anyway, you got your way.
I agree with you, I do agree with you that it's too much, and I don't like it at all, but it's between a rock and a hard spot, and you have a worst case scenario, and you have a bad scenario. Pick the one. Pick the bad one or the worst one.
Well, I would rather be eaten by the lions and nibbled to death by the ducks.
Okay. We're gonna have
Pretty
to,
scary, this is running.
You guys need to work on your 3-2 votes, okay? That's, just, do we need a revote on this?
we're gonna have a revote.
Okay, fine.
Mr. Massey, would you call the roll call vote, please? Hold it, let me repeat the motion. The motion is to approve the resolution number 17-2013, disposal fees at the central landfill and sanitary district fees. And, with amendments, with, 4 amendments. So Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call vote?
Dr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Bowles? Mr. Dunn? No. Ms. Brumell?
No.
President Hodge?
Aye. The motion passes 3-2. The, resolution is hereby adopted with amendments. Okay, we have an adoption of the tax rate. We have a resolution number 15-2013. Mr. Massey, would you please read the resolution, please?
Resolution number 15-2013. A resolution to levy and impose a property tax for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2013 and ending June 30, 2014, setting the tax rate for property and providing for the collection of the property tax. Introduced by the Council President on behalf of the County Executive, introduced in order posted March 5th, 2013, and public hearing scheduled on May 7th, 2013 at 7 p.m.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve resolution 15-2013?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve resolution number 15-2013 and a second. Is there any further discussion on the tax rate? Hearing none, Mr. Massey, would you please call the roll call vote?
Dr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby?
Aye.
Mr. Dunn?
No.
Ms. Brumell?
No.
President Hodge?
Aye. Motion passes 3-2. Resolution number 15-23 is adopted with the tax rate proposed by the county executive. Is there any old business? Any new business? You have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.